What the hell is this thing, dude? I don't know what it is about Mopar people, but they love doing these crazy wraps on their cars. Welcome back to Sema Freedom Street Garage. We're in the AlphaRex booth with our Dodge Charger Hellcat Widebody. We're going to be covering the top modern muscle cars here at SEMA 2023, starting with the Smoke Show Hellcat Charger Widebody. We've upgraded this car quite a bit. We've added American Racing wheels. These are their TTF wheels in matte bronze. We've upgraded the taillights to AlphaRex taillights. They give the car an even darker appeal. Plus, they have a really sick light sequence when you turn them on. Up at the front, we've got AlphaRex's Nova Series projector headlights. These give you the amber surrounds. That's your running light. And also, when you turn them on, you get a really cool sequence with that as well. Under the hood, we have a CORSA air intake on the Hellcat engine, and we have a MagnaFlow exhaust out back. So that gives it just that aggressive sound that we're looking for. You can hear the supercharger line way more, and the exhaust sounds epic too.
What are you rating this?
Rating this one? Oh man, of course it's gonna be a 10 out of 10. Are you kidding me? All right guys, the first stop is this Shelby GT500. This thing is a signature edition, and it's also wide body. I'm a fan of wide bodies, and this thing is, it's kind of subtle. You almost can't notice the wide body because the Shelby comes wide body, but this has an additional body kit on top of that, and it's quite subtle and it's pretty clean. We're gonna open up the hood because this one also has some modifications. We're gonna crack it open and see what mods it has because they do tuning on these cars, which is pretty cool. Of course, you can see it's got the massive brakes. Shelby's come with these factory, which is awesome. It's got a lot of horsepower, so it needs that kind of stopping power. The wheels look awesome. I think they might be factory wheels. I'm noticing some pretty cool like track-oriented features this thing has, such as like extended lug studs, you know, like open-ended lug nuts. This thing is awesome. It comes factory on Michelin tires. Pretty sweet. Let's look under the hood because they opened it for us. We've got carbon fiber air intake. That looks like probably 6 inches. It's massive. And not to mention the elephant in the room, we have the supercharger, hand built with pride. These things come with around, I think a little over 700 horsepower, close to 800 from the factory. But this one's turned up, of course. There are no horsepower numbers on it now, but okay, so I'm actually noticing some stuff here. Like for example, back here, you can kind of see how the fender kicks out a lot and then it meets up with the side skirt. I'm a big fan of that. I think it's a pretty clean look. And it's a good way to channel the air down the side of the car. I had actually never heard of a signature edition GT500. This is my first time seeing this, and I've also never seen a wide body GT500. So pretty unique car. I'd give this car an 8 out of 10 for uniqueness and high horsepower figures. Who doesn't love a GT500? All right, next up, we found a Z06 C7 generation of Corvette. I love the C7, especially if it has an LT4 in it, because that LT4 is an absolute unit. 650, 660 horsepower, depending on what car it comes in, but this is in a Corvette, and they've turned this up. They've actually added a Procharger. I don't know if you know, but the LT4 comes supercharged with a root style blower. However, this one has a Procharger on it, and it's cranked up to around 1,000 to 1,050 horsepower on the stock block. However, if you look right here, they actually have this pretty massive 6.6 liter iron block that's actually supposed to go in there, but they didn't have enough time to get it in for SEMA. So they have it sitting here on display for everyone to drool on, and that's for good reason. It looks amazing. These headers look awesome. But let's get back to the Z06. You can see right here in back, it's got a bead lock with a very nice, very sticky tire. And you need that because this is rear wheel drive, and in order for the car to actually hook up, you need a proper tire. That might not even be enough tire for this thing to hook. 1,000 horsepower rear wheel drive in an extremely light car might not be enough tire. Come around back, got some surprises here too. You can see they've got AN lines going all the way to the back here to the fuel tank. That might be like a cooling reservoir for the Procharger because it does say Procharger on it. That's gonna be my guess. But the elephant in the room, the 2 big ass nitrous tanks sitting in the trunk, taking up all the space that you could possibly have in this car that already is limited on space. That's how you know it's fast. You don't even need the trunk. I would give this thing a 10 out of 10 because I'm a big fan of the LT4. I'm a big fan of the C7 Corvette. I feel like they ruined it with the C8, and the engines they put in are kind of mundane, and these ones are way sicker, to be honest. So 10 out of 10. I love Blackwings. We gave a Blackwing away at one point. This thing is a beast. It's in the Anderson Composites booth, and obviously for good reason. It's got all of these carbon fiber bits added to it. I'm noticing the hood vent, the grille, the front lip, the inlets on the bumper, the inlets next to the fog lights. See if there's any more, because I'm already noticing a lot of carbon accents on this car. We've got side skirts, like the rocker panels are in carbon. It's got Vossen wheels. This thing has this awesome looking ducktail spoiler. God, that looks amazing. We should have put this on our Blackwing. In back, it's got this massive carbon fiber diffuser. All of this is from Anderson Composites. I know what a Blackwing looks like. We all know what they look like. We covered those a lot at one point. However, the accents on this car with the look of all the extra carbon fiber, I think just puts it over the top and makes this car look even more aggressive. But yet it's still kind of subtle. It's like aggressive yet subtle. And I mean, I'm a fan. I love carbon, especially on a Blackwing. Car that already does it all. 668 horsepower, LT4 from the factory. All you got to do is add subtle hints like that, and then it makes the car, you know, even better than it already is. I give this car a 10 out of 10 because I'm totally biased towards the Blackwing and the LT4 and the 10-speed. Actually, hold on. Let's check if it's a 10-speed or if it's a manual. Let's see. It's got a 6-speed in it. So it's a 6-speed Blackwing. I like it even more at this point. Yeah, this is a nice car. Plus, it's got MagnaFlow on it. So that's a W. 10 out of 10 Blackwing in the Anderson Composites booth. Right next to this awesome blue Blackwing, we've got a C8 Corvette. It's not a Z06, it's just a Stingray, but this might be better than a Z06. It's got Anderson Composites full carbon body. So the entire body on this thing is replaced with carbon fiber, everything. That's really outrageous. The wing, the bumper, the fenders, the doors, the hood, the roof, everything is made out of carbon on this thing, and it looks absolutely amazing. This car already looks sick from the factory, but making everything carbon makes it look so badass. I'm curious to know the weight savings over stock. There's a spec sheet over there, and I'm probably gonna go look at it because I don't know anything about this car besides the fact that it's Anderson Composites full carbon body C8 Stingray. So let's go take a look at that and see what we can get from it. Let's take a look at this bumper because it is a bit different than the Stingray's factory bumper. You can actually see that they've got these canards, or maybe they call them dive planes. I think either dive planes or canards. They have these that are pretty aggressive on the front of this car, and the front splitter, though it kind of separates in the middle, it's still pretty aggressive with how much it comes off of the bumper and, you know, how far it sticks out from the front. This car has a pretty wild overhang in the front, but it looks really badass, especially with Anderson Composites' new carbon wide body. Looks sick. All right, so the entire body / exterior of this thing consists of Anderson's carbon fiber wide track kit, carbon fiber doors, carbon fiber GT hood, carbon fiber mirrors, door handle covers, pillar covers, windshield upper applique, rear roof panel, hatch vent, tonneau cover, deck lid, and carbon fiber type high wing spoiler. So this entire car is made from their carbon fiber. It's also got a MagnaFlow X-Mod exhaust, which we love. That seems to be the trend in this booth. We've got MagnaFlow on the Blackwing, MagnaFlow on the C8. All cars should have MagnaFlow. I give this thing an 8 out of 10 because it's still raw, and if you wrapped it, it looked pretty badass. And you wouldn't even know that it's carbon, but it'd be an extremely lightweight Stingray. So 8 out of 10. We're still at Anderson Composites booth. We haven't even left yet. We can't leave because they have too much awesome stuff here. So we found a dark horse, 2024. It's got Anderson Composites carbon fiber hood added to it. But if you don't know, these are 500 horsepower. They're V8. This one has a 6-speed manual. And on top of that, this one also has a factory drifting handbrake. So if you take a look at the inside, I don't know if you can see it, but this car comes with a factory drift stick. So this car wants you to slide it, basically. It has Forged Star wheels, Michelin tires, and in the back, you can actually see that these cars come with 6 piston calipers in the back. Most muscle cars, most sports cars have 6 piston front calipers. They'll have 4 piston in the back. And you know, a lot of times they'll have like a separate caliper for the parking brake. But this has a 6 piston caliper in the back, which is extremely, it's a lot different than just having 4 pistons. It gives you a lot more power, a lot more braking force. So you need that with something like this, with a beast of a car like this. I personally love Mustangs, and this is a really special one. It's the new dark horse, and it looks pretty sick. I don't know if this wing is factory or if this is an Anderson Composites wing, but I am noticing the MagnaFlow X-Mod exhaust coming out the back. You can see those carbon fiber tips. I'm sure factory probably left a little bit to be desired, and MagnaFlow likely stepped in and, you know, got this on here and made this look more aggressive to tie it all together. I'm looking at the paint, and from what I've seen of this car on the internet, the paint is a little bit different, but what I can see here up close, there's a bit of a like kind of a bronze shimmer in the paint, and it looks epic. I think this is a factory color. I don't think it's a wrap. Looks like a factory color. I can double check on that, but epic. This car is pretty sweet so far, and seeing it in person, I like it even more. Yeah, for the first Mustang Dark Horse I've seen, I'm pretty impressed. It's a great looking car. This one has a 6-speed manual, and it's got some Anderson composite goodies and also some goodies from Ford Performance, which that's awesome that they offer those awesome products from the factory on such a cool car. I'd give this car, it's gonna be a tough one because it's still pretty stock, but I'll give this car a 7 out of 10 just because I haven't seen many Dark Horses, kind of rare. It's also a 6-speed manual muscle car, which dying breed. So any 6-speed manual muscle car, it's cool to see. Plus this one's got some tasteful mods on it. 8 out of 10. The hell is this thing? It's got a supercharger on it. Probably still slow. I think it's a 5.7 automatic. It's got some weird like target top. What the hell is this thing, dude? Oh my gosh. 0 out of 10. How could it be Sema without a Demon 170? Check this thing out. It's got the slicks on the back. Those are 315 wide, street legal drag tires. Look under the hood. There's a plaque showing the Demon on the supercharger there. This thing looks epic. It's in the Mickey Thompson booth, and it's, of course, it's got Mickey Thompson tires because these come with those from the factory. You can see up close here, we've got the skinnies in the front with the carbon fiber like outer lip. That looks pretty sick. That's probably going to shave a couple pounds off of the car. These are still pretty heavy. Another thing to notice is the Demon badge here has a 170 right there in the badge, and then also on the front you'll notice there is no fender flare. That's because you're not running wide tires in the front. You're running narrower tires in the front, but it's got the wide body in the back because it needs to fit the wider tire to get traction. So it's strictly priority, obviously, so that's why it's got the flare in the back only, no flare in the front. Personally, I would rather have the flares on all 4 corners, but it makes sense why they did that, and I think it's pretty special. It's pretty sick that they're willing to just not put flares in the front and, you know, like put it in the back because they're like, this is purely for drag racing. It's pretty epic. You'll notice like the lip on the front, the splitter is kind of cut out versus like the normal Hellcats that just go straight across. Probably some sort of aerodynamic efficiency there. I don't know. Looks cool though. Outside of that, I mean, the graphics are cool. It's a Demon 170, so this car is 1,025 horsepower from the factory, and it's like made to run on ethanol. So it's a like full drag car from the factory. Yeah, this car is epic. I give it a 10 out of 10. The Demons are such special cars, and it's awesome to see it here, even though Dodge pulled out. This is pretty cool. Got the bullet style taillights. That's pretty cool. Got some custom wheels. I mean, this is pretty interesting because this car kind of has an early 2000s style to it. And it's interesting to see that kind of style in 2023. This car has an extensive list of mods on its little kind of car show poster board here. So fully upgraded suspension, tubular engine cradle, tubular control arms, sway bars, coilovers. Looks like the engine is built as well. 2014 Shelby GT500 driveline, and it's 700 horsepower. Pretty cool. Let's walk around this thing and see if I can find anything I really like. So the engine looks pretty cool. Definitely, like I said, very early 2000s. It looks like there's a lot of stuff that's been coated the same color or color coded to match. You can see a pretty big supercharger on top, and it says SVT, so it must be like a factory style blower. This thing's pretty cool. I'm not sure if it's actually a GT500 or if it just says GT500 driveline. Actually, let's see. I can't tell, but I give this car a 5 out of 10. I mean, I like the brakes. I like the engine and the supercharger. Apparently, this is the most highly modified S197 Mustang in the world. That's what the spec sheet says. And I mean, the bumpers are a bit different. It has a pretty interesting design to the body. Let's look at the front bumper. So you can see the front bumper is a bit different. You can see an intercooler right behind it. It comes up pretty high, and then you can see a little bit of exposed carbon right behind there too. I mean, I'm not a big fan of the design, but it's definitely different. I've never seen anything like this on an S197. I see a Z06, and I love Z06s. Let's check it out. Once again, we have a Z06 with a Procharger on it. These cars come with an LT4, they come with a root style blower, but second one I've seen today where they got rid of the root style blower and put on a Procharger, which Procharger is a belt-driven, it's essentially a belt-driven turbocharger. So a turbo runs off of the exhaust, but the Procharger runs off of a belt. So it spins the compressor wheel and it forces more air in the engine. Must be a better way to make horsepower since they, are getting rid of the root style blower, probably because of heat soak. This thing has long tube headers, CORSA exhaust, it's got some custom wheels, and it's got some goodies from Anderson Composites, which makes this thing look even cooler than it already is. I'll give this car a 10 out of 10. Plus, coming around the side, I'm noticing that it has a pretty nice sized Mickey Thompson, looks like a street legal drag radial. It's also on a bead lock. It's got some pretty massive brakes too. These are 6 piston rear brakes. Actually, no, I think these might be 4. They're huge though, and this Corvette doesn't weigh much, so this is probably a killer setup for this car. The wheels look awesome. I've been seeing these wheels a lot. They seem to be pretty popular on modern muscle cars, and I mean, I'm a big fan of a sticky meat on a Corvette, so 10 out of 10 for this one. All right, guys, we found a Camaro. This is actually a Yenko 6th generation Camaro, and while it kind of looks like a ZL1, it's not. This car has a 6.6 liter iron block with a Yenko supercharger on top. This car is a 1500 horsepower Camaro. What a beast. Let's take a walk around so you can see some of the subtle differences of the ZL1 versus this car. I've actually never seen one of these in person, so pretty fascinating. Got, looks like some wheels that are specific to this car. They kind of have similar style to the ZL1. I'm not sure if this is a factory, I think it's an aftermarket, built type of car. I don't think it's offered from the factory like this. I'll have to double check on that, but the brakes look good. I like how the car is black, but then it has some pretty nice blue accents going down the side. The cover of the blower is powder coated to match. The brakes look awesome. The center caps on the wheels. This car is epic. I feel like I'd still rather have a ZL1 because it's just out of the box, beast. But this thing's pretty epic. 6.6 liter iron block and a massive supercharger. You can't really go wrong. Let's see what's going on in the back. While we're here, I must mention this car actually has a 6-speed manual, which is awesome. That's an extra point for this car. Okay, yeah. So coming around the back, it's kind of in your face. You've got a badge here, another badge here, and they're all kind of different color. This one says 1500 horsepower. It's just letting everyone know that you have that kind of power on tap. And then in the middle, you can see here, there's a custom, looks like kind of a bow tie mixed with the Yenko logo. So that's pretty cool to see. This is definitely a very special version of the Camaro. You basically aren't going to see anything like this on the streets. I'll give this car a 10 out of 10. I like Camaros, and that iron block in this thing, pretty sick. Look at this insane C8 Corvette. It's got this crazy body kit, lots of forged carbon fiber, it's wide body. Look at these wheels. Carbon fiber Dimag lips and barrels. These are pretty epic. That's how you know that these are custom. Also, look at this aggressive front lip. This entire thing is basically totally different. Let's see if there's anything cool in the back. But before we get to the back, look at this interior. Those seats are pretty rad. I mean, I'm not a huge fan of the C8 Corvette because it's full of buttons. There's no stick shift. And it's just not what a Corvette used to be. And that's what I like, what a Corvette used to be. So the wrap is pretty cool. However, not a color I would typically go for. This car has twin turbos, which is epic. The C8 needs something like that. I mean, or a supercharger. Most people put a supercharger, but seeing that this has twin turbos makes it a bit more unique than lots of the other ones out there. Got a pretty fancy manifold on there. This thing is put together very, very nicely. You can tell that there's a lot of money spent on this build, and that turbo manifold, all of that is just insane. You can also see back here, they've got some custom work done so that you can see the engine through this little window right here. Everything that's going on is completely clear to see. This car is, once again, very well put together. I think it's pretty sick. I'll rate this thing at about a 5 out of 10. I'm not crazy about the body kit. I'm not crazy about the wrap, but what speaks to me is definitely that engine, so I'm actually going to change that to a 7 out of 10. If you were to take this engine out and put it in something else, it'd be a beast for sure. All right, guys, we found a CTSV. I've only been seeing CT5Vs. I saw one CT5V. First CTSV I've seen. If you don't know about this car, this is the reason why the Blackwing exists. The CTSV, the 6.2 liter LSA Supercharged V8, rear wheel drive. You can get it with a stick or an automatic. That's this car. This one, it's got a lot of carbon fiber goodies on it. You can see the pretty aggressive APR front splitter. It looks pretty nice. The grille looks sick. On top of it already having a really aggressive splitter. So you don't really want to go through any intersections with this thing that kind of dip down, because it's going to rip all this right off. It's got some pretty aggressive wheels. These, I'm not sure what brand they are. Let's see. We've got Precision Forged wheels. These are 3-piece. I really like the matte black with kind of like the gold lip, and like it's a really aggressive look for this car with the, you know, red Brembo brakes sitting behind it. This car must be on air ride because it's literally tucking the wheel inside of the fender, and it's even more aggressive in the back. And speaking of out back, let's take a look at what's going on back there. See if there's anything special to see on this one. Let's see if I can tell if it's manual or if it's automatic. This is a 6-speed manual car. Thoroughly impressed. Once again, that adds a point. If your car is manual, you're automatically getting a point added to the score. So we're taking that into consideration. Coming around back, looks like they've got, I want to say it's the Anderson composite spoiler, because it's got kind of that distinct style, but these cars look amazing with added carbon. It's just a good look for these things. They're already pretty aggressive, but adding just that extra kick on the back just gives it that subtle hint of, I know what I'm doing. This car has an extremely powerful engine. I wonder if they have anything cool for exhaust. Let's see. It looks modified. Don't see any logos or anything. It could probably use a MagnaFlow. But on the back, I'm seeing they have a universal air badge. So that solidifies the fact that this car is on air. Obviously, they're not driving it with the wheels all tucked in like this. They might, but it'd probably do some damage to the wheels. And these look like some pretty pricey wheels. I've never actually heard of Precision Forged, but nice car. I'd give this car a 7 out of 10. I'm not a fan of the stick-on, like, door accents. Could be without those. Everything else looks great, though. Found a C7 Corvette. It's extremely wide. I'm seeing what looks like some carbon fiber coming through. This looks like an extremely custom body kit on this thing. The wheels are extremely wide. Looks like they also have carbon fiber barrels. Really aggressive. So it's actually a Z06. So this car is definitely supercharged. I see some stickers that are kind of pointing towards this car being on nitrous, which is pretty sick. Let's see what else it's got going on. It's got gold brake calipers, which is pretty sick. The bullet lug nuts, not really a big fan of it, but still looks pretty cool. The calipers being gold is a pretty nice touch. Plus the face of the wheel. Oh man, that's actually really nice. Looks like they put a lot of work into like the colors and the coatings on this car, because we've got gold faces, carbon barrels, or carbon lips. The barrels are gold, and then the brakes on this thing are also gold. But not just that, the rotor hats are also gold. That's, I mean, it's a little much, but it's a pretty good look just looking behind the wheel. We've got some carbon accents. Seems like this is a pretty aggressive wide body, all tying into the back. Speaking of back, the wheels in the back are extremely wide. And it's got some of the glimmer, like shimmery carbon fiber on the inside, and it's stick shift. And I'm noticing an airlift controller, so this car probably doesn't ride like this because it's on air. They probably raise it up so that they don't destroy the body kit, because something like this would definitely get destroyed pretty easily. Coming around to the back, we've got a pretty aggressive spoiler. Once again, the glittery matching carbon fiber continues to the back of this thing. The wing actually looks pretty good. It could easily have been overdone, but from what I can see, it looks like it's a pretty nicely mounted wing, and it just fits well with this wide body Corvette. It looks awesome. I'm noticing back here, the back is actually no carbon exposed or anything like that. It's just matte or satin black. Looks pretty badass. I would rate this car probably a 10 out of 10. We've got another Hellcat with the wild wrap. Look at this thing. Wow, I actually really like this carbon splitter on the front, plus the canards. It's not a bad look for the Hellcat. I actually kind of like it. One thing about this one is that it's a narrow body car, so it doesn't have that extended flare that gives it that extra 3.5 inches on each corner. But for it not being a wide body, I actually don't mind the look of this thing. The fitment's like on point. Look at that. It's tucking the tire. The wheels look awesome, and they're 3-piece too. Pretty cool. Awesome color choice too. The wrap is a little bit wild. It's a little bit excessive. I'm also not really sure what's going on with it, but okay. We've got some pretty meaty tires in the back. We've got a nice little carbon fiber duckbill spoiler. It looks pretty cool. I'm a fan of the look of this thing. It gives it kind of that more aggressive look. It kicks up a bit higher. And then also down here, I'm noticing we've got a carbon fiber diffuser. One thing about this is that I'm noticing the stock exhaust is still on this car, which they're kind of rectangular shaped tips, and right here I'm seeing it's very sunken in. I feel like this needs a MagnaFlow to kick those tips out and make it more aggressive looking, you know? I'd probably rate this narrow body Hellcat Challenger at 6.5 out of 10. I don't like the wrap. Another new Mustang. This thing looks pretty sick. This is the color that I've seen online most, and I gotta say in person it actually looks really freaking sick. I'm noticing it has American Racing torque thrust wheels. We actually put these same wheels on our Hellcat Charger, the smoke show. They look great on the Mustang. It's also got a pretty meaty sidewall Nitto tire on the front. I'm noticing some stuff on the hood that might be aftermarket, such as this vent. Looks like it's a sort of forged carbon fiber air vent. Then you got the same trend on the mirror caps here, along with the entire roof being like this forged carbon fiber. Now I'm not sure if this is a wrap. Oh, it's a wrap. It's a wrap. It's a forged carbon fiber wrap. Next car. Looks like we found another Hellcat with a insane wrap. I don't know what it is about Mopar people, but they love doing these crazy wraps on their cars. This one from here already looks extremely crazy. Let's take a closer look at it. So first thing I'm noticing, it's a Hellcat RedEye. So 797, you know, faster than a normal Hellcat. This one actually is kind of interesting because it's got wrapped jambs. Most of the time people wrap their car, they just wrap the outside, the doors, the roof, the hood, all that stuff. But this actually has, if you look inside here, you can see this is also wrapped. That takes a lot of work. It's a pretty good amount of effort. Let's see if there's anything around back that's interesting on this thing. I'm not a big fan of the wrap. The Decepticon theme is kind of cheesy, but the way they've wrapped it is pretty finely executed, I gotta say. Even here, you can see, look how perfectly the door jamb matches like the entire like layout of the livery on this car. It's like, that takes a lot of work, seriously. Oh, also, these wheels are pretty outrageous. Look at this. Extremely wide, plus the custom powder coated lip, different color face, and they're extremely wide. Plus you can see the brakes are a custom color too. It kind of ties the whole theme of this car together. You've got the reds, grays, blacks, blues. Looks awesome. I'm a fan of it, but I'm not a total fan of the wrap, but the car is very well executed. I'm gonna give it a 4 out of 10, guys. Transformers, it's a Camaro thing. We found another Mustang. I feel like I've been saying that all day long, but yeah, another Mustang. This is the new 5.0. This thing looks pretty awesome. This one, it seems to be a pretty simple setup, yet it looks really good. It's got like some sort of matte finish wrap. It's kind of like a dark berryish color. It looks really nice. The wheels being bronze look pretty cool. What kind of wheels are these? Let's see. Looks like they're variant alloys. These are pretty sweet. I mean, I think the color combination is great. I'm a sucker for a bronze wheel. And I mean, on a Mustang with these massive 6-piston Brembos on the front, it looks pretty epic. And this thing is sweet. It's also an automatic. So it's got that 10-speed inside of it, making it fast is like just really fast. It's also got the vented hood, which looks really dope. The wrap seems to be done pretty well on this car. Coming around back, you've got this kind of fake louver on the side here. Not crazy about it. It kind of changes the look of the car, but I do like the look of just having the full, just, you know, just a clear, just full window piece without adding any of this. We've got a roof spoiler added here, and it looks like a trunk spoiler, but they appear to be carbon, but they're not real carbon. They're actually wrapped carbon fiber. So you have to take points off for that, because carbon fiber wrap is just, it's not really the way. You can get a carbon fiber roof spoiler, carbon fiber trunk spoiler, and there's no reason to really wrap stuff anymore, just with carbon fiber. Just do a body color in that case. I would give this Mustang a 6 out of 10. I'm not a fan of the fake carbon wrap, and plus, you can get this car in a manual. Should be manual. Thanks for watching, guys. Make sure to drop a comment below letting us know which one was your favorite at SEMA 2023. Thanks for watching.